I mean, the number one guy in your offensive huddle right now is Devonta Smith, who had 68 catches. Where, again, is Jalen Hurts getting this so-called help? Because he's got another year? Do you know anything about this guy?
You know what? I called the game.
Okay, if you say no, because kind
of.
No.
What I'm saying is, I called the game. I called the West Virginia. Was it West Virginia? It might have been West Virginia. It might have been I think it might have been West Virginia, Maryland. In fact, it was West Virginia, Maryland a couple of years ago. And I watched him play a little bit, and I thought he was good. I thought he had an opportunity to be in the league. You know what I'm saying? He could run sideline to sideline, but I just thought he was a little undersized. You know what I'm saying? I thought he was going to be one of those tweener type of guys. And, I mean, he was intense, but I didn't think that he would be – I thought he'd be a special teams guy. But I guess he turned the corner, man. I mean, 144 tackles.
That's
90
great.
Solo tackles. You
What?
know what I'm saying? 90 solo tackles.
That's fantastic. But on the defense that couldn't stop anybody.
Right. But see, I also think like this. There's a difference between tackling and impact tackles. And I tell people all the time, impact tackles are tackles behind the line of scrimmage or tackles for loss, or they're 3 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Anytime 3.5, 4, I don't believe they're impact tackles. You know, Bobby Wagner, Wags, he always, you know, led the league in impact tackles just about every year because he was always making, you know, those pre-snap reads, getting, you know, tackles behind the line of scrimmage, or, you know, just as they cross the line of scrimmage. Those are the tackles you want your linebackers to get. He's right on the cusp of being, you know, one of those guys that, all right, he can guess right. He's quick and he's aggressive. He's a little on the light side. If you get your hands on him, he's blocked. But 9 times out of 10, he does his homework, man. He could be a really good player for the Eagles.
See, I look at it like this too. Who are the guys in front of him? I mean, if he's making tackles a little behind the line of scrimmage and he's getting people in his chest, that could also be a product of the triangle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying, Baird? I mean, the triangle could be weak, and if the triangle is weak, that's one of the reasons why the Chargers had issues stopping the run. That's what their problem was. They're good on the perimeter, on getting up the field and getting to the quarterback with Bosa and them dudes, but they're the heart of their defense. Okay, they really haven't had a dominant defensive tackle with the Chargers since Jamal Williams was there back in the day when he was playing for them. They just haven't had a really good interior defensive tackle in a long time. They're very hard to find. That's why the re-signing of Fletcher Cox was so important and a priority, I think, for the Eagles to make sure that you keep the middle of that defense stout.
Yep.
They may not get –
Explain to people what you know, the triangle is, because a lot of people don't – I understand it. Because, it's, you know, it's just how a linebacker reads through the triangle with those two defensive linemen in front of him, and how they have to protect him, keep him from, you know, getting touched.
Yeah, and Barrett, so to me, you know, maybe not getting the production that we've seen in years out of, and I thought about this over the week and why it's important to get Fletcher back in the building, was that you may not get the 8 sacks any longer, but the one thing that he's going to do, he's a giant body in the middle, and at $14 million, you're talking about under market value. You got him now under $17 million, which is that's the market value for a premier defensive tackle that's going to get a franchise tag at 17 too. You get him at 14, still a productive guy. He keeps the middle of that defense stout, and he helps your backers out scrape lanes, going from sideline to sideline. He helps that. And another year in the system, it was important. So if you're telling me that this guy, if he's got a clean scrape lane and going sideline to sideline, and he's got 2 guys in front of him that could keep those guards and centers off of him, he could be a productive guy. My question will be, is he a tackler? Is he a hitter? Is he a run stopper? Or is he a gatherer? Because sometimes you see those stats. I always said this about Luke Kuechly. I like the way he played because he could stop, he could gather, and he could chase, but he always did a great job at minus tackles. 1 yard gains. no yard gains. He could run people down. Kuechly was very, very, very good at so many versatile things, and he could cover tight ends out of the backfield. That's what made him, in my opinion, a Hall of Fame linebacker. He's going to the Hall of Fame, and he's going to be one of those kind of guys. So we'll see. To me, if you're telling me that a guard gets up in his chest, he has problems disengaging.
Yeah,
because you've got to do a great job of being able to get off these guys, because a guy like Barrett gets into you, he's going to bear hug you, and he's just going to swallow you up. And if you can't see him, that's why this kid Denzel Perryman that played at Miami, Barrett, I have never seen a kid so small in my life. He's like Sam Mills, man. He's like 5'10". I'm not kidding you. 5'9" maybe. And he makes 160 tackles because he knows how to evade the guys, go in the hole and move around and make big plays. If that's what this kid is, okay. But to me, I look at the sign and I say this, okay, uninspired again, solid player. You're adding good players.
And they got him for a 1-year deal, another 1-year deal. That's what Howie likes to do.
Another prove-it deal.
Yep, 1-year prove-it deal. That's what he's got. He signs a lot. That's what he gets the most of. He maximizes the potential of 1-year guys because they're playing for another contract. Keeps them hungry, number one. Number two, gets them underneath the cap and where they're supposed to be. But, he's loyal to a fault because if they come in and show that they belong there, 9 times out of 10, he signs them back.
This is why players aren't coming to Philly. Well, nobody wants to sign a prove-it deal.
Right.
Because you know why? Other places are not going to do that.
Well, look at Nelson. I'm surprised they haven't signed Nelson back because Nelson proved that, he's at least, he's a guy that he comes in, he at least is somebody you don't have to worry about. 9 times out of 10, he's going to be there to make a play. You know what I'm saying? So I'm surprised they didn't sign him to a long-term deal.
Nicholas says Kyzir White used to be a safety, and it could be our cover guy next to our tackle machine and TJ. Thank you very much, Nicholas. I appreciate it. Okay? Again, sorry, but when I have to look him up on Wikipedia on who he is,
well, it's a West Coast team too, man. You got to understand it also.
Okay, well, you'll be able to understand this when I read this to you because you tell me then when I give you these numbers here. Last week, I gave you the greatness of Devonta Smith, Quez Watkins, Zach Pascal.
You still got to look their names up?
Yeah. Dallas Goedert and Miles Sanders. This is your offensive firepower outside the quarterback. Now I'm going to add something to this. Here's the money that's being spent on this Eagles 2022 firepower. Devonta Smith, $4.5 million. Quez Watkins, $937,000. Zach Pascal, $1.5. Dallas Goedert, $3.7. And Miles Sanders, $1.7. Dude, this guy likes shopping at the dollar store here. That's got to be the cheapest offensive attack in the entire NFL.
That's not even 5 below.
Bro, think of this here. Look, okay, there's 5 million, 7 million, there's 10 million. This guy's got $12 million as an average wrapped up in 5 guys.
5 starters.
5 starters that you're
with a $210 million cap. So that's below $15 million for a cap that is $215 million.
I got one better for you.
$10 million.
Guess how much Gardner Minshew's going to make this year?
How much?
$2.5 million. Do you know how much Jalen Hurts is going to make? 1.6.
Wow.
So your backup makes more than your starter.
Well,
you've got $12 million wrapped up in 5 guys on your offensive firepower, and you're telling me that you're getting better with that.
Sills, look at this. The average backup quarterback in the league is like $7 million. So they're undersold on that one. The average quarterback, the starter in the league, is right around what 20 million
For what?
for a starting quarterback in the league right now.
29.7.
We'll see that.
That's what the franchise that is for franchise tags. Here's the numbers. Okay? Wide receivers 18.4. Okay? Quarterbacks 29.7. Running backs 8.9. Tight ends 13.2. There's not a guy in this Eagles attack that's in the top 50. How are you telling me you're helping Jalen Hurts out again? Help me out here on that. When you've got bargain basement guys running your offense and firepower this year. Howie talks a big game, dude. I mean, the number one guy in your offensive huddle right now is Devonta Smith, who had 68 catches. Where, again, is Jalen Hurts getting this so-called help? Because he's got another year? You are not all in on this kid.
Nope.
Because you get this. So DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown are on the trading block. Where are the Eagles in that?
And Parker, and Devontae Parker.
Where are they with this?
I'm tired of I don't even go to sources anymore to see if they're trying to sign somebody because they just go against the norm. You're talking about a guy in DK Metcalf who's perfect for the system. That's your guy because he's perfect for what they try to do. A guy that's going to block, a guy that can run 9 routes and have the big body that you don't have to. He can be very forgiving in how he places the ball when you got a DK Metcalf because he has a bigger catch radius. So if you talk about a guy not having a lot of accuracy, you need a guy like DK Metcalf to go up and get it. And that's what he provides. That size, that strength, and that huge catch radius with the speed and also blocking ability. Perfect guy for them to. And if you got to go spend a little bit for him, go spend a little bit for him. I'd give up a first rounder for DK Metcalf. He'd be worth it because from this point going forward. Then you look at a guy like Devontae Parker. He's still on a deal. They don't have to pay as much. Still young. And he could come in and fit in the system also. He's not as big, but he has some good size to him. But I mean, we just don't have any dynamic receivers in the fold that you can say, all right, I know I can go to this guy anytime I need you. Like Irvin Fryer. Irvin Fryer was like the perfect guy that we had for the quarterbacks that we have, because we had Rodney P, guys like that. And we needed to get a first down. We can always go to Irvin Fryer to get it because size, his build, strength, hands, he gave you everything you wanted in a quality number one receiver. I don't see that with the Eagles. They don't have that quality number one.
They don't have quality at all.
I ain't gonna take it that far, Seal.
Wait a minute. Okay, here's quality. Okay, it's quality. It's quality. It's not spectacular. There's nobody on that offense that's spectacular. There's nobody on that offense. I got a game plan that guy. There's nothing on that offense. And by the way, people are going, oh, well, the money's on D. Wait a minute. I'm talking about getting Jalen Hurts better here. I'm not talking about the defensive side of the ball with the money. I'm talking about getting the kid better. If you're all – by the way, you want to hear what I heard? Shannon Sharp said the Eagles were in. Said it this morning on Undisputed that he heard the Eagles were in on Deshaun Watson. Out of his mouth.
I
that
told
they
you
were
that.
in on it.
I told you, my source told me that. I told you that. I know they were in for it because Howie wouldn't have been a good GM if he wasn't. How do you go out there and say you're trying to make your team better without being the best quarterback on the market at that time and not being in that type of sweepstake?
Okay, Barrett, who's the best player out of this group here? Smith, Watkins, Zach Pascal, Goddard, Sanders.
Man.
Who's your best? Okay, not
Second
counting
year.
the O-line with the Mulata and the Lane Johnsons and all them and Kelsey's. Because those are your best players in your huddle. Okay? They're in your O-line. Your O-line are your best players. They're not your skilled guys. There's not one skilled. Watch this. Where would I rank Devonta Smith as wide receivers in the NFL? Would he be top 20? Maybe.
Smith? I'm gonna tell you the truth right now. I'm talking right now. Devonta Smith would be a quality number 2. I don't know if he's ready yet to be a number 1 receiver. We're saying he's a number 1 because we drafted him like he's a number 1.
Oh, we're guessing he's number 1.
Right. So if you're looking at a number 1 receiver, he'd be a quality number 2 at this point right now when you look at him. Not saying he can't be a number 1, but we're talking about a guy that you can consistently go to, like I said, an Irvin Ferrara type of player. A guy that you can consistently throw the ball to, he's going to get the first. See, we don't have that right now.
Well, the Dolphins didn't think he was the premier guy at Alabama because Waddle went. And by the way, am I right, Xander? I know you keep an eye on all your freaky Alabama guys. This guy had 104 catches with Tua and who else throwing him the ball? Jacoby Brissett? Hang on here. Jacoby Brissett and Tua, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Jacoby Brissett in Miami last year.
Yep.
So Jacoby Brissett and Tua got 104 catches for Waddle and 1,000 yards, and a team that started the season out like 0-8. He had 104 catches, and Devonta had 68. Dude, you put Waddle with Burrow in Cincinnati, he has 150 catches with a quality quarterback. Am I right when I say that? Xander, right? Waddle had 104 catches, I think, last year with the Dolphins.
But,
wow.
Look at this, though. But he was second. He was his second or third in passing efficiency simply because all his passes were 10 yards and below. But I'll tell you what, you know who led the league in catches of 10 yards and below?
Yeah, it had to be your boy, Hurts.
No.
Who,
You'd be
Brady?
surprised. No.
Brady. Who?
No. Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes.
Wow.
But it's the mother of invention. You have to go out there and you have to invent a way to move the offense. You're going to line your safeties up 17 to 20 yards deep, or you get the ball in Tyreek Hill's hands earlier. So you get him around the line of scrimmage on slants, or even just, tossing it out to him and let him work. So that's what if that's the type of offense you have to run, you adjust to it. So you get the ball to him earlier. That way you have all that cushion in between the safety and the linebackers. He can work inside of there. So, that's what you do. You have to invent a new way to go out there and move the ball, move the chain. That's why I'm not worried about Jalen Hurts and his ability to throw the ball, because you're going to find a way him to get the ball out of his hands depending on how the defense is covered.
Okay, so you're going to turn your offense into an offense where you're going to tell him where to throw the ball instead of him knowing where to throw the ball. We're running a college offense then.
Yes.
That's what we're not running a pro-style offense with that philosophy then, Barrett. We're going to find him, the open guy. It's not the quarterback coming to the line of scrimmage on a pre-snap read knowing where to go with it already.
But still,
we've got to have a guy that's going to look over at the sidelines being told like he was.
Not necessarily that, but you got to look at this is not going to be a conventional NFL offense in the first place, well, to these standards. Now, this offense, when I was in the league, 1995, would have been perfect because you're going to run the ball consistently. Run the rock consistently. Gives you an opportunity to open up the passing game. And you can use the passing game with run fakes, not just because of run fakes, brings the linebackers up, but more so, it's not the fake, but it's the protection that comes with it. Because it's a solid protection. You keep the tight ends and everybody in and send them receivers down the field. That's the only way you can do it, man. That's the only way that I feel they'll have success with this offense. If you look at, they're going to have a whole different offense, Miami, with that new head coach and how he's going to run the offense, because he understands how to use a Deebo Samuels, how to use the Kitchens. He understands how to get those guys and maximize the talent that he has inside of the offensive meeting room. And we have to do the same thing. I don't know if you necessarily have to say, all right, cut the field in half for Jalen. So one half of the field, you read that half until you can, read the entire field. But we have to make sure that we customize this offense. And I'm sure Nick Sirianni can do it because he showed the ability to do it halfway through the season, which allowed them to get into the playoffs.
Last year, Jalen Waller had 104 for 1,015 and 6 touchdowns with Jacoby Brissett and Tua Tagovailoa throwing him the ball. And they won 9 ball games also this past season.
How many?
And your boy had 68 catches for under 970 yards. I mean, dog. I mean,
I'm trying to find a way in which you could maximize the receivers that you have right now, because it doesn't look like we're going to have anything better than what we have right now.
Man, how did I had to look it up. 104 in his rookie year. Now I know why Jalen Waddle was ranked higher coming out of college than what Devonta Smith was. He's a better player. And it's get this, with as good a quarterbacks. I mean, I don't know, Tua, Jalen, they could be the same. Or maybe Nick Saban was right. Tua at least can find double coverage. He can find like a third receiver. Maybe he's a better reader because, dog, you just don't fall into 104 catches.
Right.
Somebody's got to know how to read a defense. All right, I want to take a timeout. Also, Barrett, there was the apology from Deshaun Watson. I want to get into that about the stupid-ass Cleveland media as well.
Oh, by the way,
some news around the National Football League, and 2 going forward here. Again, you tell me, and folks, that's the topic of the morning here. You really think that Howie's helping Jalen Hurts out? He's Barrett Brooks. I'm Dan Cilio. This is the